Saludos, everyone. This is Eduardo with Chicanas and Chicanos in the Know. Just wanting to share some information with y'all about yesterday. Happened to be in the Southtown area, Wednesday, 2024, September 4th. After my meeting, I got to check out an event that was going on there at the Brick at Blue Star. It was a conversation series entitled Ed Talks but Mostly Listens, a conversation series with Ed Saavedra and special guests. The special guest yesterday happened to be Shelena Gonzalez. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. She's a storyteller, dancer, and an award-winning author. She's a former librarian, as she was quoted saying, once a librarian, always a librarian, I believe. That was close to what she was saying. An enrolled member of the Tapilam Coeteca Nation, practices the healing arts through writing and movement. Gonzalez has picture books that include the award-winning titles Where Wonder Grows and Remembering. Her writing for adults includes poetry, essays, fiction, and screenwriting. Please check out her work. There was several other folks there as well. Please check out their work as well. I'll put their work in the links there because at the top of my head I'm not remembering exactly their exact names, so I don't want to butcher that. So please check out that work. Check out this mashup I put together in the editing process, and stay tuned for more information and updates. Thank you.
Future Ed Talks guest.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, I'm gonna tell her there was applause here tonight. So hopefully she does.
Can we get applause for future Naomi Nye?
Yeah. And so Ed said, so the name of the play was Habibi, and I said, I should try out for this play. Or I said I wanted to try out for a play, and you said, oh yeah, because I have long hair. And I remember I wore it to the side, and I didn't know Naomi, and you said, you could play young Naomi Shihab Nye. And I said, who's that? So you said, go, and believe, put your hair like that. And so I did, and thinking I might get an extra. And I think honestly they wanted, I heard later, that they wanted Amalia Ortiz, but she couldn't do it, she was touring. So I got the lead in that play, and I ended up on stage here, and that changed so many things for me, because if you don't know Naomi's writing, she's been a voice for Palestine for 20 plus, forever. And so that YA book follows...
Since she was born.
Since she was born, yeah. And so, that play was astounding. It was wonderful. A lot of the Palestinian community came here from Houston, from Austin, from Dallas, and it was wonderful talkbacks, and my mind was blown open at that point. At the same time, my sister was on the other side of the world in China and met the man who would become her husband, and he's Palestinian. And so everything, that just shifted, as a lot of people's minds are shifting now, but that happened in March of the year that you encouraged me to, go audition for a play.
But then what, you ended up in another?
Oh yeah, so then after that, and I don't think it was right after, but at least a year. So we did that play, and that was a little more, based on a YA book, so based on a young adult book, and it was, I don't want to say tame, it was a crucial piece, but it followed a young girl and her family who's Palestinian American, as Naomi is, and they go back to the West Bank, they visit family there, and so it's a look at what occupation looks like. This play, which was put on by Diane Monroe, who was a company member here with Jumpstart Performance Company, she partnered with a few women, but one in particular who's from Gaza and has family out there. And that play was really interesting. We had 3 composite characters, and it was called Otherwise Occupied. So this show was based on, I want to say it was dozens. It was a lot of women that they interviewed, and we heard some of these translations and these interviews that took place with women living in the occupied West Bank and Gaza. And I remember, this wasn't the stage, but we walked around at some point. There was one scene where we talked about the checkpoints, and we had to learn all of the villages, how to correctly pronounce their names. We had a couple of Palestinian women really guiding us through the process, and it was me and St. Shimi, who was a company member here as well.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Applause for us.
I'm looking up because she would do these amazing Ariel. Every time I'm here, I think of her on her silks dancing, and Monessa. And so yeah, and there was a whole scene about checkpoints and the IDF, how the folks are treated there, and that was intense. That was a lot. I remember it being emotionally heavy for us and for the audience, because again, folks came in from different cities, and I became passionate about it. I remember writing it because I was still a freelance writer.
So you first wrote about it after being in the first
Yes.
play, or the second play?
After the second play, I got to visit Palestine because at this point, Sochi, my sister, Sufyan married into the Saktan family. And so I've been 3 times over the years. That first time, my brother-in-law couldn't even come with us because his American citizenship had not been established. So even if you're from there or you're a descendant of Palestine, you cannot enter. So that first time we went, my sister and I went, and none of the family in Jordan, which is where a big area where a lot of refugees have gone over the years. So we went with, because again, the internet was all very new, like actual photo albums. And it was wild because everybody knew, like, the generations that had been born. They had heard of them through letters, through, I guess, other visitors. I'm sure things have become, well, I don't want to say easier over time to stay connected, but they knew of each other for generations, these families that had been split since 1948. And so, yeah, the first time we went, we met the family, but our family couldn't go. Once Sufyan had his American passport, he was able to go with us. But that first time, I also met one of the ladies, one of the women who I portrayed. And again, it was a composite character, but the way that they had me in costume was in a hijab. So I had the full hijab, and we were in different, like one, Monessa had a headscarf. So like the way women dress in different ways, and then Shibi was like all out revolutionary, which makes sense, right? And so it was, but I remember when I met Terry Palata, I met her in Ramallah, and she did not have a hijab. And I remember she had this purple pantsuit on. She just looked so cool, and she lit a cigarette, and she said, "So, I heard they put me in a hijab." And I was like, oh. And I did have a lot of lines for her because she was just a brilliant woman, very, she had so much to share. It was a mind-blowing experience, but yeah, I met her and one other woman who had been interviewed. I have I don't know, yeah. I'm not sure what's happened with those, but one of the families who helped gather the interviews, she has been raising funds, as a lot of families have, to get their family out of Gaza. So I recently did a fundraiser, and the money, my portion of the money tonight, by the way, is going towards the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. And to Dr. Rola's family, yeah, I did a fundraiser recently for her family. It's
Well,